Hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to make a temple guide just to help the people that have been asking me. I want to make it as simple as possible for people who would like it to be explained like they're 5 years old, basically. So we'll start with my old temple. It was pretty good, but we ran into some issues. One thing I didn't quite understand when I was building it is that even these, like this path here, I wanted to get rid of it at the end, but I couldn't because my second chain had gotten about around the corner here, and the problem is it'll never delete these paths here that I highlighted because it's connected to this chain. So I should have started this second chain down here, or even better yet, on this square because this path will never be deleted. So I have too many starts here, and then these paths wouldn't be here. So yeah, this is the main mistake I made. I wanted a generator at the start, and I just happened to have one here, so I did it here, and I didn't realize that this will all be permanent, and this isn't really sustainable, this isn't really sustainable, this isn't really sustainable, and then also I'm kind of stuck here. I can't put anything here, so I can't use these squares because the other chains here are going to connect to the architect here, and you can only connect to them once, because if you connect to them twice, that creates a loop. You'll understand this more when I show you some other slides that I made. But so this is a good placement for the architect, but this is bad. This is bad. So you'll understand this more when I go, but I just wanted to start with why I reset my temple and help you understand some basics, basically. So we'll move on from this one, but this is just this temple was already getting me. I got 3 headhunters, hundreds of divines. So this, even though this wasn't optimal, and basically I just couldn't build anymore. I made a little chain that came back to here, basically, but then I was just stuck. I just didn't know what to do at this point, and I had like 15 rooms or something that were kind of not going to get used. So I was like, you know what, why not? There's lots of time left in the league, and I don't really need the money anymore. I have like all my gear and everything, and lots of divines. So I was just crafting for the fun of it at this point, like doing crazy crafts. And I was like, you know what, I'll just reset it. So what I did to reset it was I created a loop right here that went back, and then it blew up 6 spymasters on this chain. So once you loop it, this whole chain becomes vulnerable because it connects back to the start. So it's one big loop, right? So I lost boom, 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 like I think 6 or 7 spymasters, and then yeah, it was a mess. And it took a long time to reset because I had blocked at Siri. I had another chain here too, I think, or something. And I couldn't get to it Siri because that's the fastest way to blow up a lot of rooms. You loop everything and then kill it Siri is the best way to reset. But we'll move on from this. So this is an example of a good chain, a good start. So this is what I'm doing now. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about this, but basically this is where's my brush? So this is a good start right here. Lots of locks. The locks drop from spymasters, and then the garrisons give you advanced medallions, and then the sacrificial chamber is only here temporarily, just in case I want to destroy a room. So you get 2 sacks from each one. Anyway, so we'll move on from this one too. This is just an example of a good start because I don't have all this crap in the middle, basically. So here I made a little slide that people can like screenshot and save or whatever. It explains phase 1 is basically what I just showed you. How to reset your temple, and phase 2 once you get enough locks. So phase 1, you basically just start creating this chain, and then you build a side chain. I think I have a slide of that too somewhere. Yeah, right here. So this explains Russian tech too. So this side chain here can be any random rooms. You just don't want it to go through the middle. But so path over here with any random rooms, it doesn't matter. You just want rooms that don't create a dead end. And if you do get a dead end, where if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know which rooms connect to which, then it's not a big deal. Just let that room die. Just let it die, and then start building again with something else. So this is a good place to learn over here if you're new. And yeah, just create multiple ends. So each room that comes, you have a chain going this way, and each room over here that comes off it is a possible target for destabilization when you close your temple. So if you have 10 over here like this, then there's less likely, like less of a chance that your chain over here will get hit with destabilization. So this is a good way to protect your starting chain while you're building it if you don't have locks. So over here, you just build as many endpoints as you can over here. So you make one chain up here, and then just start building things off to the side of it. So that's a nice way to start. So this explains how you get Garrison, Spymaster, Garrison. And the reason we do this is because these are the two best rooms for loot and for XP and everything. They have lots of monsters in them. And the Garrisons give advanced medallions, and the Spymasters give locks. The Garrisons can give locks too, because the locks are advanced medallions, but the Spymasters have the best chance of locks, and the Garrisons can drop everything, and these two rooms have the best loot. So this is a great way to start. The Goleworks here has a low chance to drop the upgrades, and you want to upgrade your Garrisons at the start. And so yeah, whenever you get a generator, you can put it in square 14, the one that says 14 here, just to level up your Golem. You want to give him, I think you can give him a level up too, but that'll only get him to 2, and then the generator gets him to 3. And then he has a high chance to drop upgrades, and you use those to upgrade the Garrisons. Now, I think I covered everything here. So I did, this arrow here tells you which room to lock. You always lock the last room on the arrow. So if this is your last room, you lock him. If this is your last room and you don't have these rooms yet, you lock him. If this is your last room, you lock him. And that's just showing the path from the start, right? So, and you don't want to start building too many of these. If these haven't died off yet, these two here, you don't want to start building your next one yet, unless you really know what you're doing. Because if you have this 2 square wide grid that goes too far and they're all connected, then you can have rooms in the middle. Like you could lose the Spymaster if you have a room over here. So yeah, so if you had 6 rooms here and there was one in this square where my mouse is, then this Spymaster could blow up even if you had this one locked. You don't need to understand why, but just make sure if you got to this garrison, lock it and don't continue until these 2 rooms die off, or at least one of them. If you only have one room over here, then it's not a big deal. You could keep building over here. So hopefully that covers this. I have little notes here that you can screenshot this and save it for. There's actually one other. Yeah, I'll save this. Our tech example. Okay, so this is a helpful. I can't remember who I got this from. So I didn't make this, so not credit to me, but whoever made this. I think Milky shared it in one of his videos or something, but I'm not sure if he made it. But anyway, so this tells you which rooms connect to which. So this is a helpful thing to have. So I just put that on the screen for a few minutes here, or for a few seconds. Now I'm trying to think, what else do we need to cover? This shows my temple guide. Now it'll change depending on where your architect is, but you only want one room to connect to your architect. Now what I'm showing here is just where the ends of my chains are. So these are the rooms I would lock. This one, because this is only one room, and if he died, I could just add another commander. But so I would lock this room, and I would lock this room, and that would protect the entire chain. So this is the biggest chain here, the one that ends in the corruption. So it goes all the way back here, all the way around, all the way here, all the way back here, and all the way to the start. So once I get this room down, if I lock it every time, that protects like 70% of the rooms in the temple. So that's the most important lock here. This one is this small little chain that just fills in some gaps, some extra rooms at the end. So if I only had one lock, I would lock this one. And then if I had a second lock, I would lock the small chain. And then if I had a third lock, I would lock this generator. Maybe not even. Maybe I would do this if I had 4 locks. Because like this isn't that important. It just gives these 2 golems an upgrade, and I might be some other rooms too, but mainly it gives your 2 golems tier 3. So when you have an extra generator, you can throw it down here. I wouldn't put anything there honestly if you don't have a generator. Maybe there might be a few rooms that would be worth putting down. Maybe a sack chamber if you wanted to blow something up, or maybe if you got a treasure chest room because it gives the whole temple rarity, that would be worth putting down for a couple runs if you don't have a generator. But anyway, this is for the when you're done your chain. This explains why we make a chain, because literally locking this room here protects like 70% of the temple, and none of them can get destabilized. So that's great. And wherever this ends, if it ends up, if it's over here, same thing. You can lock this and it'll protect all the rooms before it, as long as it's not looping back to the start of the temple. So I think I covered everything. The main thing to learn is how to get about this far. So once you're here, you're in pretty good shape, because you're going to get 1 to 2 locks every run for the most part. And then you can start following your temple guide pretty easily. And if you have extra rooms, don't be in a rush to place them. Once you get about here, you're going to start getting decent loot and decent XP. And you don't need to be in a rush to place rooms. So I think I explained the Russian tech, right? Did I close it? I think I closed it. Let's go here. So yeah, this is the Russian tech. So let's say we're this far. It won't let you put another... so the Russian tech's off. I can't put another spymaster here. So what you can do is you can put an armory over here, a garrison here, and then a spymaster here. And then you lock the spymaster. And if you get another garrison, you can add it and lock the garrison instead of the spymaster. So I showed that arrow. Always the last one of the chain. When you're doing this, you just pretend the chain goes like this. Now if I add... It won't even let me. Pretty sure you can add an armory here again. Maybe not. In-game. You don't want to add an armory there. So basically, now you would just lock this and let this die off. If one of these rooms dies off, you can continue. Spymaster. Now this one dies. I think you can still do it if just that one dies. Yeah. So anytime one of the 2 rooms, you lock the last room in your main chain, and anytime one of the, and if you don't have this room yet, you can lock this. But you always lock the last room in your progression, and you don't continue until one of these 2 rooms dies off every time. You can have a room over here, and it's just going to die, but it's outside of your chain, so your chain is protected, this room's not protected, but you can add rooms like this too. When you're building, like say you have, I'll just turn Russian tech on here, so I don't have to do this a million times. So I'm just going to show a couple examples of things you can do while you're bored and building still. So let's say you have, we'll do a sack chamber here, which is always good to have while you're building first, and protect it, because you can, if you make a mistake, you can blow it up. So it's very useful. So this is an example of what I would do on a side chain. Just because you can actually progress these. So this is what I'm doing. This is a little bit more advanced. This, you can't actually build like this. You have to do your Russian tech, but I just turned it on so it's easier for me to. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to do, and I want to have a sack chamber here. So basically, I timed it a little bit wrong. So I would actually do it like this. When I did mine, I made sure I had it set up properly where they would connect at the right point. So let's see if I can get this one to do the same thing. So spymaster, garrison, spymaster. Now this one's off too. There's not much you can. Yeah, so it won't even let me place a room there. Let's just do one path for now. Just that'll make everything make sense again. Because it was always one path too short, right? So now it'll work. And now we have Russian tech on. So this works, but this creates a loop, right? So basically the reason why I was doing this is so I could build this chain in two different locations and make it meet in the middle, and it would just make it faster to build. So what the problem with this though is it creates a loop. So you need a sack chamber somewhere here, and then I would protect him. I would build a couple rooms in front of him to protect him, or you can lock him, but it's easier to just build. So this is how you would do this if you want to make your first building easier by having two different locations you're building off of. So actually this would be better over here, just because if I'm doing Russian tech here, you have more room. So this is the way to build the spymaster chain the fastest. So you would have two garrisons ready to connect for when you get a spymaster. It would actually be better if you had two spymasters at the end, because garrison is way more likely to get, and you also need the sack room. When you connect your chain at the end, you have to sack it. If you don't sack it, your entire chain can blow up. So you can't place this last room until you have the sack. So you'll have this room, and it comes from the sack chamber, and he needs to be level 1 or 2, or it won't show up. If he's level 3 already, I'm pretty sure it'll never show up. You get 2 sacks. I think if you level him manually with like a medallion, I think you lose a sack. So I'm not 100% sure, but just don't do it. But basically, so when you connect these two chains at the end, you need garrison, which is pretty common. So that's why I'm saying you should leave it at 2 spymasters and wait for your sack to come up. Eventually you'll get a sack. So you place your garrison down, and then you sack this room or this room. You have to sack one of the rooms here so that it's a proper chain now. And then you can continue on building your chain, and you've just saved yourself probably like 10 or something opens and closes by adding some extra rooms that you didn't have to build in order. So that's my recommendation for starting your first chain. But just be careful when you do your final connection, because it creates a loop, and then you can let these rooms die off. But you need a sack, and you just need the other room that makes your final connection, and then you have to cut it off, ideally somewhere over here near the start. So if I had a path tile here, like the way I did it, so that this would line up properly, make sure I would make sure to sacrifice the path tile, just because you don't want it there. And then these rooms can die. If you don't want the rooms here, they'll die off over time. You can just lock whatever room at the end is that you want on your chain still. So if I didn't want these elks or this armory, then I would just lock the chain here at the garrison. So this is a little more advanced than the explained it to me like I'm 5 part. But for people that just want their spymaster chain done as soon as possible, this is the ideal way to do it, I think. You build one this way, one this way. You can use the planner here to make sure that they're going to meet properly in the middle. Now you might have to actually... hold on. Path tile here. I have Russian tech turned on. So can you actually do this? Oh, apparently you can. So I wasn't sure if you would have to do this because I haven't got to this stage yet. I'm like here and here or something. I wasn't sure if you'd have to do the Russian tech to place the last room. And then you would sack, if you do, you would have to sack this room still. And then, yeah, you could still lock over here. And these 2 rooms, this would all be protected. These 2 rooms wouldn't be protected if you locked here. But it's fine. I'll say for the advanced people that have stayed this long, the reason why these 2 rooms are protected when you lock this is because it can't disconnect your chain. Like if it blew up this room or this room, then your chain is disconnected. This is how you can test it with the planner. So if blowing up a room disconnects your chain and creates 2 chains, the destabilization mechanic won't do it. So you can basically test it like this. Now the problem is if you start building more than 1 Russian tech at a time, if you add one here, now this room isn't protected anymore. So we had a garrison here, right? So if you get impatient with your Russian tech and you build a second something like this that has 3 squares off, now this room is not protected because your chain still exists if it gets deleted. So the mechanic will do it. This is especially annoying at corners. So if I have a garrison here, now if I lock this, these 2 can look. I can delete that. The chain's still there. And I can delete that, and the chain's still there. So you want this room to get deleted, but this room could get deleted. So with a garrison, it's not a big deal because garrisons are easy to replace. So if you had 2 garrisons here, and this one got deleted, it's kind of annoying because you don't want that empty square in the corner. But you can just leave it, place another garrison here, and hopefully next time this one gets deleted. And garrisons are common, so that's not a huge deal. But so I wouldn't waste a lock on this room. But yeah, just to explain how it works, that this is the best way to test if you need a lock or not. So like I said, just to clarify, you can assume your chain's locked, and then if deleting the room in question that you're not sure that you need to lock, if deleting that room breaks your chain, you don't need a lock. If deleting that room does break your chain, or doesn't break your chain, you do need a lock. If you want to keep this garrison, you need a lock for it, because deleting it doesn't break your chain. See, any of these, it doesn't break your chain, so they're not safe, but you want them to die off. Anyway, I think I got a little long-winded here, but I'm just trying to share what knowledge I have. This is my current temple. So if I go garrison, spymaster, garrison, spymaster, garrison, spymaster, garrison, spymaster, mine connect. And here I'm starting a Russian tech, so I need a garrison for here, and then I can put a spymaster here. So that's my current thing. I have my sack chamber here just in case I need it. I don't have locks for them right now because I've had bad RNG with locks, even with all these spymasters. But it is what it is, and this is where I am. This is a good place to be. this spy master, even if I don't have a lock, he's 2 rooms away from getting hit. So you want to protect your spy masters at all costs. So if I only had 1 lock here, I would lock this one, because this guy's 2 rooms away. So I would have to lose all 3 of these rooms. This guy, only 2. This guy is level 3, but still, whatever. The last thing that I'll explain is leveling up spy masters. Very important. If you have a lot of level up medallions, which is these ones, you can use them on spy masters, especially if you don't have a lot and you need to start farming locks. I think it's worth it. But spy masters do level each other up. Now, one thing to keep in mind is only unprotected spy masters. This will be easier to show on paint. Actually, it'll be easier to show on this. So leveling up spy masters is the last thing I'll cover, I think, before we end the video. So let's disconnect our 2 chains here. So right now this spy master is unprotected. So if you want to level up this spy master, or any of them under chains, you can't protect this guy. What you have to do is run the temple, clear through, go into this room, complete the room. Sometimes there's mobs there, but the spy master's missing because he got assassinated. So just complete the room. If there's nothing there, that's good. That means he leveled another one up. But don't lock it before you go in. So a lot of times it's good to lock it before you go in, but if you lock it before you go in, I don't think it works because he's protected. And it also doesn't work if you have a room here because he's protected now. So you want to leave him vulnerable and then lock him before you close your temple. And then he'll level up. He'll level up. You can do that a lot of times as long as you have locks, basically. So you could level up your entire chain. Now, you wouldn't want to do it with this one because then you can't build. I mean, you could. You could do it with one and then build using the other way. But ideally, at the start, you have... If you get a spy master you can't place, you wouldn't... I don't think you'd want... Yeah. You'd want something like this at the start. You could do it just like this, I guess. If you have a lot of locks, that's the best way to do it, because you can just add this stray spy master and he will level up your entire chain as long as you lock him before you close it every time, but just don't place another room after it. Pretty sure that I haven't tested this too much because I just found a way that works, and I always do it that way. The way that works is you have a stray spy master that's off by himself. You don't lock it until you're closing the temple. And you run in the room and see that he's not there every time. I don't think it matters. I'm almost positive it doesn't matter when you go in the room. All that matters is that he's unprotected when you open your temple, and then he's protected when you close your temple if you want to keep him. If you can just let him die if you don't need more level ups. But if you have 5 locks, you can do 5 level ups. You just run in this room every time. It's nice when it's at the start too. You run it at the start. You see he's not there. If there's no other mobs, it'll say room completed immediately. If there's other mobs, you got to kill them. And then when you close your temple, you lock the room before you close it. And then he'll stay. And that's pretty much as I've learned about the temple. Don't make a loop. Do a recap here. I don't think I need to say anything about this anymore. This is your my advice to people that are just starting temple now and trying to do it right. This is the link to that planner I was showing you, where you can mess around with it. When you're doing that, you want Russian tech off if you're learning how to build. And if you're just placing your rooms down to see if it works, you can turn Russian tech on. But if you're learning how to build, turn Russian tech off, and it'll show you what you can do. It'll use the in-game logic. To reset it, you push this button. To load Milky BK's Easy Temple, you push this button. And then you can just literally place the exact rooms that he has. So that's a nice way to do it if you don't want to, if you just want to kind of go with it. Apparently, Cute Dog's Roman Empire's here. We have, I think this is the Russian master himself, maybe, I'm not sure. But this is I believe that's the one that Fubgun is following. And yeah, so, and if you want to just make your own, you can reset. If you want to just plan as you go, and you can, if you have Russian tech off, it'll just it'll tell you what you can place in each square without Russian tech. So this is the way to do it without Russian tech on your main chain if you don't want to do any fancy business. I believe in Milky BK's Easy Temple. Yeah, that's the method he follows. So anyway, the one thing to note is when you're following one of these guides, the architect will change it slightly, unless you have the architect at the exact same spot. The main thing with the architect is you cannot connect to him twice, because that'll create a chain, or a loop, I mean. So if your things connect to him here, and then you add a room here, see how this whole thing went red? So that's the nice thing about this planner too. I'm surprised it doesn't tell you. So usually when you loop, it tells you that the thing will be in red. Or this might be the warning here. Let me see. Yeah. So see how it's highlighted in yellow? I think that's a warning. Yeah, will create loop. So that's very useful for beginners. You can place all your rooms in the planner before you place them in game, and it'll warn you, will create loop. So don't put that room down. So you can test it before you do it with this nice guide here. Here's the link. And just look for that warning before you place a room down, and you should be nice and safe. I hope everyone got the information they wanted. Feel free to visit me in stream, OG Poonts, on Twitch. I'm not very big. I just kind of started. Come in and talk to me. Ask me questions if you want. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.